Well, Matt, to start with the sort of the news in terms of the football structure of the club and George's new role. Does that, obviously you've been involved in the discussions there, is that going to help take a little bit of pressure off you? How's it going to work?
I think it's important we start off by saying we've lost a player. No one's really talking about that because obviously everyone's speaking about the new role and what's next. So we've lost a player, albeit injured, but still an important part of the squad and a good person to lose out of the change room. And then testament to George and the career he's had. He's almost gone straight into another role with no time whatsoever on the back of a 20-year career. That can't be understated in any way. So we have to understand where he's been for a long time and what he's going into next, and appreciate that side of it for him as much as anyone else. And like I say, understand that we've lost a good player, but hopefully we've gained a really good member staff for the club.
Yeah, and it seemed like it came around relatively quickly, sitting from the fans' point of view, and a little bit out of left field. Is this a discussion that's been going on for a little bit?
Well, everyone knows George in terms of what he's done in his career, but also how he's conducted himself, how he's acted, how he's interacted, the relationships he's built, the network he's got, and obviously his intention to go into the next pathway in terms of his career, and obviously in terms of signing for Bristol Rovers, having not played consistently for a number of seasons, then game time might have been limited or expected to be limited, so he's always had half an eye on what's next for himself. So those discussions probably happened quite early on, even before I got to the football club. I think the owners identified him as someone with real worth and someone they want to keep at this football club. And then on the back of probably the initial ankle injury just before I came in, I think there was preliminary discussions in relation to what it might look like for all involved. And then obviously the second ankle injury when he got back to playing and looked like he was playing well, kind of just speeded things up in relation to that. So the broader and bigger plan was this to be announced at the end of the season, but in order for us to maybe catch up or maybe get ahead of the game in the next recruitment window, I think we're all comfortable with the current situation, and certainly on the back of this latest injury, going to be probably too long for him to feature again this season.
Yeah. And I suppose from your point of view, a lot of the work that he'll be doing now and over the coming months is not really going to come to fruition until the sort of summer and beyond. Is that how you would see it?
Yeah, I mean, everything infrastructure related really. I think there's a priority which is recruitment. I think we have to be honest in relation to that. Chris Spendler's been promoted or taking a step up in terms of the lead role in relation to that, but that will still fall under George's remit. And one of our analysis as well, he's going to move towards that side of it as opposed to just the work he does with the first team and the training and the games we prepare for. So we're trying to build a team because that's the most important thing at any football club. But George will certainly have his hands full because there's an awful lot which needs to be addressed at this football club. And it's great that he's going to be the man to do that, but we also have to be mindful that if there's a priority of what we need to get right sooner rather than later, of course it's recruitment.
Yeah, absolutely. And from your point of view, is it going to make much difference from what you're doing day to day? Will it take anything off your shoulders that you have been having to deal with, or is it more extra things?
No, it will take an awful lot of my shoulders. Having a person in that position and then him with a team around him and below him as well will take an awful lot of a manager's shoulders, but also be a point of contact for a lot of people at the football club, certainly at the training ground. We've been crying out for someone like that. We still need more roles to be here, more people to be here in certain employment statuses, which we can go into at length at a different stage. But I'm sure that will be part of the process which George is doing.
Yeah, and it's funny, isn't it? You sort of go back when you were playing, and a lot of managers were very much anti having somebody who they saw as sort of looking over their shoulder, whereas it seems most clubs now there's that much needs to be done that an extra pair of hands is almost essential.
Yeah, I think with every manager, the balance is, does a director of football, a head of football want to be a manager or think he can be a manager? I think in George's instance or example, he wants to help people. That's what you require as a manager from that position. It's pretty simple. If you don't get that and you get the one I've just mentioned, then you're going to be in a difficult position because it's all about what you provide, the plan, the strategy and the infrastructure of the football club, ultimately the way the club runs on a day-to-day basis, but also in terms of the load which we've mentioned of identifying players, providing that list to the coaches and myself as a manager, and then how we sign players. It's the most important thing for any manager, regardless how good you are coaching and communicating. That's the most important thing.
And it is one of those things that's happening behind the scenes, whether it's the potential to redevelop here at the quarters, the stadium, sorting out the footballing operations behind the sort of team effectively. All that stuff needs to happen to make your job easier and give you better tools to go and do what you need to do.
Yeah, I think the bigger plan for the club is obviously the stadium redevelopment and obviously the training ground as well. I don't think that's immediately under George's remit. I think he's more based at the training ground and the daily workings of the training environment, and obviously the first team who are based here. He will have a part to play in, and obviously those developments were there, probably a slightly longer term plan or vision for the football club, and we're all excited about that. But I think we're all under no illusions that there's work to do within the squad. Certainly at the end of the season, there's a lot of players out of contract. We've got 6 loans at the moment. We're at a real crossroads as a football club in terms of where we want to take this team.
Do you have a good sense on that of, not necessarily this is a player I want to keep, that one I think I might let go, but do you have an idea of where you think the squad's going to be come start of next season?
Yeah, you've always got an idea. The last 16 or so games have told me that, or taught me a lot. Not just taught myself a lot, but in terms of everyone who's watched those games. So, but then there's still 12 games of football to improve, to show, to do what you need to do as a professional footballer, which is contribute. Let's be honest, and contribute in terms of your position, your space in any football squad. So we're looking at that as we go forward, and then we're looking in our building as much as we possibly can, as opposed to elsewhere, because the academy, we want that interaction and connection to start to build. Is there anyone in there who can start to step up and start to show some life? And then also what type of player and profile of player we recruit to this football club.
So your more immediate concern in terms of players is who's been fit or available or not suspended for matches. Where are we for the Orient game in terms of bodies back or missing?
Yeah, well, we're naturally in a better place. Camille came back last weekend, Anthony will come back this weekend. Sam Finley and Connor Taylor are back training with the first team per se, and not in a S&C or physio driven environment, actually fully in training, so they've got a chance to be involved this weekend. So that's 3 serious players to come back into the fold. Sam and Connor will need a little bit of time and need to be introduced maybe lightly on the back of probably 2 games. I think Anthony can, if selected, can come straight back in. That was obviously enforced through the suspension, but he was in pretty good form before he had that little break from the team.
And on the back of getting that much needed win last week, does that give a little bit of impetus to the rest of the players? It's like, actually, we're starting to feel like we're heading in the right direction again now.
Possibly, but we've said throughout the course of the season how inconsistent we've been. I think the last 7 games probably sums it up, where we've won a couple, lost a couple, won one, lost. It's just been constantly that throughout the course of the season, and the same patterns within those games. So, who knows what's to come in terms of the next few fixtures. All I'll say is that they are a different calibre of game to maybe what we've played recently. And that's no disrespect to the opposition. Leyton Orient are in fantastic form. The form team in the league, so strong at home, and obviously then we play the might of Derby. So a couple of incredible games to look forward to. Probably cleaner games, more quality on the pitch. In theory, judging by what's happened previously, that might suit us a little bit more. But like I say, just a couple of games to get our teeth into.
And just on Orient in particular, I wouldn't say it's a surprise, but they're definitely outperforming what a lot of people would have expected, and they're still in with a shot at those playoffs.
Yeah, strong team, strong squad, some real quality on there, a really bright, energetic team, obviously well coached. So we're looking forward to seeing how we not withstand the pressure, but go there and compete, but also to take the game to. We know that if we've got any outside chance of even looking towards the playoffs, we've got to pick up as many points as we can, certainly starting this weekend, because they are a team a little bit above us. So they've been certainly a team we've admired and enjoyed watching, but I don't want the headlines and the discussion points to be about them after the game this weekend. I want it to be about a good performance from us.